Hey guys, welcome to Module 1 of Social Work 642. This week we will be taking a look at some basics in research. So some of this may be review for you guys from undergrad, or if you have went through the foundation program, this will be some review from the foundation research class, Social Work 541. Some of this should sound kind of familiar. This week and next week in Module 2, we'll be really looking at some key concepts that are important in moving forward with the course. Now, as I mentioned in my welcome video, and if you haven't watched it yet, you need to take a look at that. Under the Welcome Start Here tab on the side toolbar, there is some information and a video, and it kind of goes over the kind of outline of the class and the flow of the class and how the class will be structured. So I encourage you to take a look at that video too. It's pretty short, but it's very informative on how we will move forward in the class. But kind of as I said in there, this class is meant to be collective, meaning all the assignments kind of help you build toward the final research project, okay? We will be conducting a research project, and you will be collecting data and writing up your findings and all that for your research project. Now, the difference for this class is it focuses more on single subject. I guess as you guys kind of figured out by your book, it talks about one of your books is a single subject research book. We're going to learn more about how to deal with research for individuals. Because a lot of times as social workers, we end up in the situation where we have one client. We're trying to try some new things to help that one client. So, it becomes single subject research because we're trying to determine if the intervention that we're doing is effective. So, this will be very helpful to you in evaluating your own practice, which is a very important aspect for social workers to be familiar with, okay? So, like I said, review that video, that welcome video. Take a minute to review your syllabus and your course assignments. List. There's a list, I think, with the syllabus, and it's also under Course Resources tab over on the toolbar. And it's like a one pager. It might go on to two, but it lists every module, what we'll be reading in that module, what chapters in each book we'll be reading, what we will be, what assignments will be due, what we're kind of focusing on in that module. So that'll be really helpful in keeping you on track and making sure that you're not, forgetting about any assignments or anything. I'll post a new module every week in this section of the class, under the content folder. There'll be a new module that falls into there. There's also a folder at the bottom that is entitled Research Proposal or Research Project, and it contains information about the overall research project and the kind of flow and of how we're going to do that, okay? But everything in the class will build upon each other. So just keep that in mind. This week we're going to focus on reading chapter 1 in both books. Like I said, it'll be kind of a review. The big concepts I really want you guys to understand this week are independent and dependent variables. Those are really important, especially when you start talking about research project or research topics, because that's where we're headed. That's our next big part of the research is selecting a topic. And understanding how the two and how they work is very important. In dependent variables are a lot of times behaviors. There's something that can be measured. So be sure to keep it, that's the key. Dependent variables have to be measurable. For example, a really good example is sleep. That's something that's easily measurable, that we do it every day, sometimes some more than others, but it's something you can measure the duration of, right? So your behavior needs to be something measurable. The independent variable is, so you have this behavior and you kind of can see how the behavior works. Like you could track your sleep and understand over maybe like a 2-week period what your sleep pattern is, how many hours each night, or how hours and minutes you sleep each night. Then you have an independent variable that comes in. It's something you want to try to see if it makes a difference to the dependent variable. So listen to classical music before 30 minutes before bed to see if it makes a difference on my sleep. And so we could do that and then track my sleep pattern during that intervention period where we're doing the independent variable, that classical music, and see if it makes a difference. So understanding the difference between the two and how they work is really important to having a good solid topic for your research. So the assignment this week really kind of hits a little bit harder on your independent and dependent variables. It's just a quick test, you know, to review to make sure you have a good understanding of those concepts. Okay. So this week you only have the one assignment and review the information. There's also some additional information in the modules you'll see throughout the class. I always usually put the PowerPoint from the Richards book on there for the corresponding chapters that we're reading. I think you guys might find that helpful. Or some other videos or content that might be helpful. This week I've also posted chapter 1 in both books. In case any of you guys have any delays in getting your books, those chapters are in the course, so you will not fall behind in the meantime. But try to get those books in as soon as possible if you don't have yours yet, because it will, the pace of the class will pick up, and I don't want you to fall behind on your reading. Okay. But as you're doing these, learning about independent and dependent variables, start to think about your topic. And I have a little statement in there about that in the course overview this time. Just start thinking about what you could do as your independent and dependent variables. Now, like I said, this class focuses more on single subject design. There are a couple ways you could structure your research projects. So just to be thinking. You could do a group design, looking at a group of individuals, and having those participants participate in your study. But in this program, we really understand that that's not always possible. You may not be in field this semester. You may not be in a field placement that will allow you to conduct that kind of research. It is only a semester. We have like 15 weeks, and that may not be feasible in that amount of time to try to do a full research project. So the other options are you could have a single subject design on someone else, or a single subject design on yourself, which is probably the most simple of the three to, track your own patterns. Like back to my example about sleep, I could easily do that project on myself and track my own sleep and try the intervention and, determine, the results of that study. So just try to start thinking along those lines. Think about your research topic, because that will be coming up soon. The research approval form will be coming due in the next few weeks. I've also posted module 2 this week, just so you guys can work a little bit ahead if you want to. But that's completely optional for you. Now, if you have any questions or concerns about the content, or if you want to start talking about your topic, or you have some ideas or thoughts, please feel free to reach out. The best way to probably get a hold of me is via email. I'm in and out of the office quite a bit, just the nature of my job, so meetings and all kinds of things. So I may not always be at my desk. So the easiest way, always have email on my phone, and I try to get back to you guys as soon as I can, so we can schedule up something and talk pretty quickly. So if you ever have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. I love to hear from you guys, and we'll address any issues you have. So welcome again to Social Work 642, and I hope you guys enjoy Module 1.